Welcome to another episode of How To with Paul Henderson. Today's episode is going to be on how to hook up your laptop to your HD TV. So let's get to it. Now there are two ways to hook up your laptop to your HD TV. It all depends when you had purchased your television set. Mine was purchased in 2012, so that's when they were still using the VGA input along with the new HDI inputs. So if you were to not have any HDMI inputs on the back of your TV, you would of course need to use the VGA input, which now VGA only transmits audio, which means that you would need to run an audio cable that would go from the speaker jack on your laptop to the audio input on the back of the television set. So that's the second way. Of course, the best way is with the HDMI cable, which of course transmits video and audio. Now I'll show you the difference of the two of those on the Amazon website. So let me get my computer turned on. I just pulled up the Amazon.com website. So I'm going to show you what you would need to go from the HDMI output on the laptop to the VGA input on the back of the television set. So let me show you what it is. In order to hook up your HDMI output of your laptop to the VGA input on the back of the TV, you would need this HDMI to VGA converter. And what this is, what you would do with this is this would plug into the HDMI output on the laptop, and this VGA connector here, you would purchase an additional VGA cable that you would screw into here, and the other end would mount to the VGA input on the back of the TV. And then of course you would need the VGA cable with the audio connection cable along with it. I'll show you a picture of that right now. So once you have your HDMI to VGA converter cable hooked up to your laptop, you're going to need to hook up the VGA cables. Now these cables are pretty cool. They are from Triplite. They come with the audio cables already installed throughout the whole entire length of the cable, and they give you excess cable at both ends. So what you would do is you would take one end, plug it into the VGA output on the converter cable, and the other end would go to the VGA input on the back of the TV. And of course the audio cable would go, one end would go into the output on the audio jack on the laptop, and the other end would be on the input of the audio portion on the TV side. So that's really about it for that. And then once that's done, you'll be able to transmit video and sound from your laptop to your HD TV. First I'm going to show you the cables that I actually purchased from Amazon. So here we go. So for the setup that I'm going to be doing, I needed to purchase two cables and an HDMI switcher. So the 30-foot cable is going to be going from the laptop to the switcher. That's going to be sitting by the TV. Now the 30-foot cable is made by LineBest. It's a very high quality. It's the thickest cable that I could find, and it was $22 for the 30-foot. The 6-foot cable, which would go from the switcher to the input on the back of the TV, that was $12. And the switcher is made by Rooful. It has 3 HDMI input and 1 HDMI output. And here's a bigger picture of it. So I'll be able to plug in 3 HDMIs, and of course the output would go to the TV. Now for the unboxing portion. Okay, so here's the 6-foot cable by LineBest. It's pretty heavy duty. I don't know if you can tell on the screen how thick the cable is, but it's pretty heavy duty. So let me get to the 30-foot one. More twisty ties. As you can see, that's a pretty long cable, and of course as thick as the other one. This was the thickest cable that I could find online. Like I said earlier, I think it was if you went over 15 or 20, you had to. They recommended a thicker cable to be able to transmit those images, the final distance. So these are really good cables. They're going to be very happy with them. And as for the Rooful switcher, here it is. Alright, so here's the switcher. There's one output, 3 inputs, and a 5-volt adapter for it. Alright, so here's the adapter cable, remote control. It does, which I didn't know, it does come with 2 cables. Oh, here, this is how I'll show you the difference between the 2 cables. See, so for short distances, you can get away with a thinner cable, but when you're going to be going over a certain distance, you need a thicker cable. So here's the 6-foot line vest, and here's probably a 3-foot cable that came with it. As you can see, they were definitely this one's definitely a lot thicker than the standard one that came with the switcher. And as for the ends, they are both gold plated, but like I said, the cables are a lot thicker. So you know, this is the line vest, and this is the standard quality HDMI cable. So I think it's going to work really good. So let me find the remote control to turn off the video recorder. So before I show you how to hook up the cable at both ends, I'm going to go ahead and feed the 30-foot cable from where I need it to be to where I need it to go, and then I'll show you the connections at both ends. All the cables are laid out how I want them to be, so all there is to do is just to plug them all in. So this one here goes into the HDMI. Make sure those are all nice and snug, and now off to the other end. Okay, I already have one end done. That is the end that's plugged into the HDMI output on the laptop, so now we got to do the other end. This is my Sony Bravia 45-inch TV that I bought in 2012. It has a couple HDMI inputs, coaxial, a component, and of course the VGA, but I won't be using the VGA because I'm going to hook it up to HDMI. So of course we have to plug all the HDMI cables into this Rufu switcher. So let me reposition the camera so you can get a better view of where I'm going to connect it into. I already have the cables set up where I want them to be. So here's a 30-foot cable that's coming from the laptop. Here's one end of the 6-foot cable that's going to go into the selector, and the other end of the 6-foot cable that's going to go into the back of the TV. So let me give you a close-up view of the connection process. Here's the connection process for the HDMI switcher. Here's the 30-foot cable that's coming from the laptop. It's going to go to the number 1 input on the HDMI selector. You have one end of the 6-foot cable that's going to go to the output on this HDMI selector. And then you got the 5-volt power source right here. We'll turn it around. As you can see, the power's on. So now I'll hook it up to the TV. This HDMI cable is coming from my cable box, so this one is going to be plugged into the number 2 HDMI input on the selector. But in the meantime, this is the other end of the 6-foot cable coming from the selector. It's going to plug right into this HDMI input. That's it. So now let's go ahead and turn on the computer and make sure it all works. Now that I have the HDMI cable for the Sony Blu-ray player untangled from this mess of cables, I'm going to be able to plug it into the back of the HDMI switcher. So it's going to be going into port number 2. That's as simple as that. Here's the remote control for the Rufu switcher. As you can see, there is a red light that indicates that there is a power source being supplied to the Rufu switcher. Let me go ahead and power it on. And as you can see, 2 green lights appeared. The first green light is the line out, which is going from the back of this unit to the back of the TV. The second green light, which is line number 1, that is the feed from the computer. The second one, which isn't lit up, is going to be for the Sony Blu-ray player, and line 3 right now I have empty, so it's not being used. So let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, let me go ahead and power the TV on. Takes a second. Okay, so HDMI 1 is for the cable box, no signal. HDMI 2 is the RUFU switcher. Let me select number 1. There's the computer. Selection number 2. Let me turn on the Blu-ray. And there you go, the Blu-ray. So you got the Blu-ray on number 2, and number 1 would be the computer. For a video and sound check, I will send one of my YouTube videos that I have stored on my 8 terabyte Western Digital hard drive. So all my videos, they're all filmed in high definition. And it's kind of a long ways for it to be transmitted through. It's a 30-foot main cable, then there's the switcher, and then there's a 6-foot cable that goes from the switcher to the TV. So let me go ahead and select one of those videos, and then we'll transmit it. Then I'll turn the camera around and you can see how the quality is on the TV. So let me go ahead and pull up the Western Digital file. There we go. So the video that I'm going to send is one of the latest ones I did. It was on how to adjust your motorcycle chain with Paul Henderson. So here we go. Okay, so right now it's playing on my computer. I just got to turn the TV on. So let me go ahead and put this on. No, right here. Hang on a second. Welcome to another episode of How To with Paul Henderson. Today's episode is going to be on how to adjust a motorcycle's drive chain. It is on my personal bike. It is a Suzuki 2007. As you can see, the GSXR 1000 street bike. Quality is very, very, very good. So apparently these cables don't have any problem transmitting high definition. First things first, let me get the volume on this. On lift so you can. So as you can see, those inline best HDMI cables have no problem transmitting HD quality video and audio. Really happy with them. Remember, total length of the cable that I used was 36 feet, so that's pretty good. So really happy with them. Those are two awesome products. Once again, it is inline best. 30-foot cable was about $23. The 6-foot cable was about $12. The HDMI switch was it's made by RUFU, and it was $32. I'd highly recommend both products if you need to transmit a signal, video and audio signal from your laptop to your big screen TV or another monitor. They do have shorter cables, of course, so when you select cables, you want to get a cable just the length that you need. You don't want to go overboard and get one that's too long. I think 36 feet was probably pushing it, but they do have longer cables. And as you can see, the quality is really good, so really happy with them. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit the subscribe button and you'll get notices of future videos as they come out. And thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, where's that remote?